Alrighty, I'm going to get on to the next thing I want to talk to you about, and that is. Hmm, I don't know. I've got so many things I want to talk to you about. That's just. I have to see if this hat wants to talk, and it says it still wants to talk. So what it wants to talk about is. Now it's kind of waiting. Let's get into it. Okay, this hat. No, he doesn't want to talk. This hat. No. Sometimes this hat talks a lot. This hat. This hat made the last video and it's all talked out. It was this hat. That's my last video about planet Earth. This yellow hat. I don't know who's going to start talking. This green hat. It's a Budweiser green. No. Okay, this is the hat from the Supernatural TV show. It doesn't want to talk, but it's going to talk. And so it brings me to the last of these bunch of hats. And it is LV Las Vegas, which surprisingly, well, not surprisingly for me, is what my t-shirt is saying. Las Vegas, Nevada. So it's definitely a story about Bob Frizzell, the producer of the reality game. And for all intents and purposes, I am Bob Frizzell now. So there's nothing really relevant to Las Vegas for our talk, except that quite often Bob likes to wear this hat. And anyway, he doesn't want to talk. He just wants to say, I'm the producer, and he wants to move along. This hat, no, it's not going to, this is very embarrassing because, I got all these hats out so that they could talk for you. This is a barefoot. And where do you go walking bare feet? Quite often in the sand, on the beach, maybe in some grass. This hat says it's very embarrassing when, I put on all these hats and they don't want to talk. And that's all he wants to say. And this was the hat from the last couple of videos. No. This hat doesn't want to talk. And this hat gets around. No, doesn't want to talk. Doesn't want to. This one doesn't. This is Jamaica. Doesn't want to talk. This hat does a little one. He wants to say, okay, now that you get the picture, I can't tell you anything unless the talks are talking. And What talks is basically putting on my thinking caps, and I have all these different thinking caps, and if they got something to relate, they relate it to my brain, and then I'll talk it out. And if they don't have nothing, then they don't have nothing. And supernatural, no. Sometimes they don't want me to take it off, though. Maybe if I put Bob Frizzell's hat on top. Now, the two of them together, no, they say I look too stupid. And Bob Frizzell's hat backwards will say, okay, now I've wasted 6 minutes of your life. I'm trying to get these hats to talk to you. And, okay, I guess I'm going to go hatless or something. So, what I'm going to tell you without a hat, it's very embarrassing. It's like 6.5 minutes of my time, and I haven't told you anything. And 6.5 minutes of your time, and you're probably already tuned out. I mean, if you're still here after 6.5 minutes of me flipping around with hats, then you are definitely a loyal viewer, which means you should be rewarded. And I'm terribly sorry. I can't reward you with anything valuable in this video. But I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't know how to really tell you everything that's going on other than to go back to my last. It's one video on YouTube, and I split it into two to fit onto Instagram TV, if you're watching Instagram TV. Okay, let's see. So, how can I reward you for
60-mile winds tonight.
60-mile winds tonight? I think it's 60 kilometers an hour. I don't think it's 60 miles an hour wind, but it has been very windy lately. Very windy. We always say if you get a long stretch of windy days, it's the winds of change, which I guess is going to bring me up to what I started to talk to you about in the last lecture on planet Earth, and I never got around to it, and that is what they keep calling the event. And what can I tell you about the event? Well, at one time, the event was going to be known as a solar flash. And then it got watered down into waves of energy coming into the planet and no solar flash. And so instead of being one great big event, it seems to be waves. Now, everyone knows what waves are. If you've ever seen any kind of a body of water, you know what waves are. And what exactly are the waves? The waves are for me, they're waves where I can sit up and talk to you. And then when a certain part of the wave comes through, I basically have to go lie down because it makes me sleepy tired, and I can't do anything but rest. And sometimes I fall into sleep, and sometimes I just lie there for as long as it takes until the wave, that part of the wave passes, and then I can get up again and do something. Why is it that I and some people on the planet are really being affected by these waves? And I'm going to say the vast majority of humans aren't. It's not really clear because I don't really understand too much about the two groups of people. The more I, look into it, the more things that might make sense don't really make sense. So I'm going to just say, we're just susceptible to these waves. And whether or not other humans are going to be susceptible to these waves, I don't know. I don't know. But there are quite a lot of the people that are susceptible to the waves. Some of them consider them something to do with what used to be called the event and perhaps ascension. Other people, I think, are affected by the waves, and they sometimes blame the weather, changing in the weather, and sometimes they don't know what to blame it on. Some people that just seem to be prone to things like migraines just say, I've always been getting migraines. And, sometimes people say, well, it was because whatever had just been going on in their life up to then, that's what it was related to. And so is it really ascension? Sometimes what I think it is, before I even heard of this word ascension, I read a little bit of a book by a man named Gopi Krishna. And Gopi Krishna was someone who talked about a Kundalini awakening. And he described having great difficulties with his Kundalini awakening. And he found it very painful. What is a Kundalini awakening? Something to do with a sleeping snake that's at the bottom of your spine, like at your tailbone. And somehow it wakes up and then it starts going up your spine. And as it goes up your spine, sometimes it finds energetic blockages, and it seems to cause different troubles, according to Gopi Krishna. And I think that quite a number of the people who are saying ascension symptoms because they heard it somewhere really are having Kundalini awakenings and trouble with the Kundalini awakening, because it wakes me up a lot more to talk about me being someone who's got a Kundalini awakening than it does about something to do with extraterrestrials, astrological alignments, downloads from other stars and other planets, 12-strand DNA, because these things are pretty much new, and Kundalini awakenings have been known about for a great long time in India. So I really think, if I was going to be truthful as best as I could, I think that the people who are talking about all this ascension stuff have not got the real good information about Gopi Krishna and Kundalini awakenings. That's my take on it. Although sometimes I do talk about ascension because it seems to be way more talked about these days than Kundalini awakenings. What's more true? I'll leave it up to you. And you can look both of those things up, and then you can try and figure it out for yourself. Because I can't definitively tell you for sure. I can tell you that more than 10 years ago, I used to regularly go and see someone who channeled the Ascended Master Sananda, and Sananda told us as a group that it is harvest time. And harvest time for Sananda meant a time of us finding mastery. He kept talking about mastery, mastery. And for him, mastery meant going within yourself to get the answer rather than looking to books and YouTube videos. We didn't have YouTube videos in those days. And, other teachers. Sananda said, I'll give you some background, but then you have to do your own homework. And to do that, he basically said, just close your eyes and I'm going to give you a bit of a guided meditation to get you into a meditative state. And he kept telling us, you have to go within to see what you get. And we'd go around the group after we did our little meditation, and we'd all talk about what we got by going inside. In other words, sometimes people saw inner visions, and sometimes people like me would say, I really didn't get very much of anything. I was terribly sorry. And other people, they just went on sort of like the hunches that they got. And Sananda said that was perfect, because even if you didn't get anything, you did make an attempt to go within yourself to get the answer. And he said that is mastery. Mastery is going within yourself and getting what you get. And whatever you get, that's great. Now, at one point, I was getting kind of frustrated because I really wasn't getting anything when I did the meditations. And then Sananda suggested, well, one thing you could do is go and book yourself a session of body work. Oh, so after the session, we did have the internet then. I just don't think we had YouTube, or if we did, it really wasn't a big thing. So I just went into my internet search engine and I typed in body work. And there are some hits that came up, and I glanced over them, and I called one of them and set up an appointment, and I had an afternoon of body work. If you don't know what body work is, it is pretty much a massage, a kind of massage therapy. I had an unbelievably great massage, and I went back for more of these kind of massages, and lo and behold, I started to be able to vision things in here when I went within. Actually, when I was having some of these massages, I started to see things. So what was really going on that I needed the body work? I don't know, really. I had some people explain it to me, but whether their explanations are accurate or not, stuck energies, stuck emotions primarily, and having really good massage therapy helped to release the stuck energy, which was what I was talking to you about earlier when it came to Gopi Krishna having trouble with his Kundalini, finding blockages and causing a lot of weird symptoms. So, harvest time. Is it a general harvest time for everyone on the planet, or just for the group of people who were attending the Sananda sessions? To the best of my recollection, it was just our group. It was harvest time, and that's about as far as I was going with it. I wasn't expecting anything from the external world at all. But other people interpreted it differently. Other people, in their interpretation, said it's actually harvest time for the planet. I didn't get that. What I heard from Sananda, I didn't get the planet. Or if I did, it got lost in the sands of time. And then it was a very recently, totally unconnected to Sananda and the Ascended Masters, that we heard about these ascension things, going from either one dimension to another or from one density to another. And then we heard some really scary stories about harvest time, where our souls were going to be harvested and maybe eaten by reptilians from constellation Draconis. So, how big is this harvest going to be? One person that was deeply involved with these channelings with Sananda said it was going to be a very small harvest. Very small. How small? I don't know. Maybe maybe 1% of humans. And does that mean 1% of humans are going to ascend? Reading between the lines, I can't even say. That was just someone who was in our Sananda group. So, but we do find a lot of commentators on YouTube talking about ascension, talking about going to, if we were in third density, going into like a fourth density, or if we're in the third dimension, going to the fourth dimension or to the fifth dimension. And is it going on? For some people, I think there is something up, and it might just be these people are self-selecting. They've been doing yoga and meditation, and some of them have been doing psychedelics, and I don't know what else would trigger these things. Maybe being in, I don't know, but I think they were just happenstance things that are giving them this Kundalini awakenings, and then they're looking around to see what on earth this is. And before they heard anything, I'm repeating myself, they heard earth ascension or personal ascension, and they didn't hear too much about Kundalini. So to make a long story short, is there going to be a solar flash? I have no idea. Are there extraterrestrials flying by? Right up here, you can't see it, but one of my friends on Messenger just sent me a message and said there's 6 UFOs flying overhead over our city right now. Isn't that an interesting coincidence? Yes, I'd like to go up and see them, but should I stop now and go? I've seen these UFOs before, and these flyovers are very interesting. I've seen quite a few of these interesting flyovers, but the simple fact is I'm not terribly excited about them anymore. I'm pretty much looking to see them either beam me up onto one of these extraterrestrial craft, or for them to land, or for them to beam someone down for me to have a close encounter of the first kind, like in the 1977 movie of that name. Because just seeing them fly over, and I saw one last week, I just kind of blinked a couple of times. When you first see them, they're all interesting and wow, and I used to stay up all night to watch for them and see strange occurrences. I did see lots of strange occurrences, but I'll go and look at them, but they're like lights in the sky, and I used to go and use my binoculars to see if I could see them better, and I guess it's become kind of mundane. So I really want something more than just seeing odd lights flashing in the sky. This hat is the Supernatural hat, and it is said, we've talked enough for this video. Thank you for watching, and don't mind me, if you do watch another one of my videos and I go silent for a while. Those are your, sometimes I don't tell you, but if I do go silent for a long period of time, it means I'm doing meditation. And if you watch me meditate, in other words, I'm just looking at the camera, I'm looking over there, I'm not talking, it means I'm meditating. I'm also waiting for more words to come through for you. So instead of turning off the video, what I would encourage you to do is to relax, breathe, and get yourself into a calm, peaceful frame of mind with me on the video. Is that meditation? Let's say it is, because I really want to encourage everyone on my channels to meditate regularly, every day, as much as possible. Because the more you meditate, the more likely you are going to have a Kundalini awakening, which is going to lead you to one of my friends is saying, high strangeness. Yes, things may get very, very strange, and you might come around to the fact of, I wish this never had happened. Nevertheless, these are latent abilities of humans, and if you're ever going to be anything more than a monkey in a human skin suit, you're going to have some of these advanced abilities of being a human come online for you. I mean, it wouldn't be very much fun if everybody else in your town had all these gifts come online for them, and you're wondering, why am I being left out? That's probably what people are going to say when some people can start doing things, supernatural gifts, I mean. That's it for now. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and share me out.